Let me be clear, trauma does not have to mean trauma with a capital T. The small, subtle traumas add up too, which means nearly everyone has experienced some type of traumatic event at least once in their lives that manifests, yes, even later in adulthood. In this part 2 video, to help you cope with trauma and the many ways that it manifests, I'll explain the time it takes to overcome it and also 5 effective ways to cope with trauma. In case you're new, I'm Sin Meyer, the founder of Second Wind Movement and a life coach for older adults who are striving to turn their retirement years into their best years full of purpose and meaning. And a big part of that is being, of course, healthy and happy inside and out, and then excavating the root issues of trauma. That helps you live your best dream retirement life. And you wouldn't think an older adult in retirement would still be feeling the impact of childhood trauma, but years of conditioning and decades of time does not extinguish the impact of early trauma. And I see this all the time. Healing and clearing out the coping mechanisms from early on, especially when you look at retirement as the beginning of a big growth journey, where you have all this open space to reinvent yourself and better connect with your authenticity and live life on your terms, is hugely beneficial. In fact, it's magical, and I have seen older adults do this important inner work. As for how long it takes to get over a traumatic event, the truth is, of course, there's no magical timeline for healing, and it's definitely not a quick fix. It's kind of like the grieving process. It has a path, but in reality, it looks totally different and chaotic. I like to use this image depiction for grieving, and it works very well for getting over trauma too. This is how we want healing from trauma to look, and this is actually what the healing journey looks like. Some people may take months, even years, to fully process and move on from a traumatic event, and others may feel like they have moved on without fully processing it, which means life continues to trigger those emotions all over again and again, and yes, even as an older adult in retirement. According to Better Health Channel in Australia, a physical reaction to a traumatic event may take 1 month for your body to come out of heightened arousal and reset to normal equilibrium, be it flashbacks, dizziness, or increased heart rate. And then for the longer recovery times, the National Institute of Mental Health shares that some PTSD symptoms just begin appearing years after experiencing trauma. Other big factors to consider are the types of treatment methods that you choose in your recovery journey. Different modalities will resonate differently for different people, and so will the healing stages, which, by the way, also vary. For instance, some categorize the recovery into 3 phases of trauma: safety, stabilization, and engagement, processing of traumatic memories and meaning making for self, developing a sense of personal and relational integrity and well-being, which is integration reintegration, while others refer to additional stages, like the 4 stages of trauma healing: acknowledgement, understand the impact; safety, get to a mental, emotional, and physical state of safety; processing, process the impact of trauma, both symptoms and on your relationships; integrate, repeatedly practice new ways of being. And yet another one is Hunter's stages of recovery, which has 5 stages: denial, bargaining, anger, sadness, and acceptance. As you can see, there are several ways and several time frames on the road to trauma recovery, which means there's no set timeline and no script to follow. But one thing is for certain: to avoid its potentially lifelong negative impact, it's important to proactively heal any trauma and just begin your unique journey. It doesn't matter when you begin your journey, just begin healing. Be kind to yourself and understand that healing is not a linear path. Just like your trauma itself, your healing journey is also very individual. Now, let's head into the 5 ways to cope with trauma. Number 1, reach out for help. First and foremost, don't let any trauma go unaddressed. Get help. If your symptoms have persisted for many months or years and they're beginning to interfere with your daily life, it's likely a very ripe time to reach out for help. Connecting with a therapist or a support group is one option for getting help. Research shows that simply talking about your experiences can significantly reduce the symptoms of trauma. So don't be afraid to open up and express yourself to a trusted friend or family member to help you get the right kind of help. as there are several recovery methods and plenty of certified trauma therapists and online resources to try. For instance, you can look into professionals that provide cognitive therapy, which helps you change your behavior and responses to your trauma. Exposure therapy, heal from your trauma by gradually being exposed to triggers and then confronting it and reliving it in a sense. EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy to forge new associations between traumatic memory and then more adaptive memories. Somatic experiencing, which helps you increase your tolerance for difficult bodily sensations and suppressed emotions. EFT tapping the meridian points while repeating positive affirmations causes a decrease in cortisol levels. Breath work. Various breathing techniques can put you in a trance-like state that allows you to better process and release trauma. And medication. What's key here is to combine the medication use with an integration coach or a guide or a therapist to help you work through the emotional elements alongside the meds. No matter how you go about your trauma recovery journey, there's no shame in seeking out help for healthy relief. It's actually an incredibly brave thing to do. And these are just some solutions. A combination of this list, along with our other tips, can help make a powerful healing formula, which brings us to number 2, build healthy habits. When you're ready, it's all about integrating into your life intentional thoughts and behaviors, and hence habits that align with the best, healthiest version of you. Post-trauma, it's definitely tempting to just hide under a cozy blanket and ignore the world, which is avoidance. But let's face it, that's not a sustainable solution long-term, and deep down, that's not what you want. Of course, nor are all the other behavioral symptoms of trauma. Dissociation, anger, or hyperarousal, just to name a few. Research shows that trauma can lead to unhealthy coping mechanisms and lifestyles, like overeating, drinking, or smoking. With over 223.4 million people experiencing some type of traumatic event, it's no wonder there are stats like worldwide obesity tripling since 1975, and global alcohol consumption is steadily increasing. The good news is you have an opportunity to heal and make some intentional changes moving forward. So instead of turning to those easy bad habits, make an effort to build from the inside out healthy habits that'll support your emotional well-being. Easier said than done, of course, so starting small is key. If you're familiar with our content, you know how powerful micro steps are. In case you want more information on micro steps, I will leave links to our content on that topic below this video in the description. Either way, start micro and make sure you're getting enough sleep, drinking plenty of water, exercising and moving your body regularly, eating nutritious meals, spending time outdoors in nature, and practicing mindfulness daily, whether it's meditation, yoga, art, or journaling. I know this can sound overwhelming and the list goes on, but in a nutshell, it's important to actively take care of yourself in ways that resonate the most with you. Rather than doing everything on the list, do the things that resonate the most with you. And always, emotionally, mentally, and physically. And patience and consistency are going to be key because it can take anywhere from 66 days to create a new habit. So leverage our superpower of consistent daily micro steps. Number 3, self-soothe. Practicing self-soothing techniques and regulating your nervous system are powerful tools in your healing journey. Self-regulation, the ability to control your behavior, emotions, and thoughts in pursuit of your long-term ideal life is, in my opinion, completely underrated. It's also worth noting that self-regulation is a skill that's learned or not learned in early childhood, and the impact is massive. So much so that self-regulation in childhood is a significant predictor of future outcomes and success levels, including life satisfaction. If you're someone who didn't grow up with a parent who taught you how to regulate your emotions by first co-regulating as a child, you're not alone, particularly if you're a baby boomer, part of a generation with a therapy stigma where only 8% are willing to see a therapist. Because of generational hand-me-downs like this, it makes the average older adult not fully equipped to self-regulate and naturally practice self-soothing techniques. That makes sense. And I get it. I wasn't taught to co-regulate and then self-regulate. I had to learn it much later, and honestly for the purpose of teaching my own kids. And I can say it's not easy at all. Yet, the effort to practice self-soothing daily is so worth it. Because when you address the wounds within your inner child, you lay a foundation for a stronger sense of self and self-love, which means a brighter, more hopeful, energized future. And in case you're curious, some of our favorite inner child healing practices are mirror work, meditation, letter writing. I'll leave some info on those in case you want to dive further into it in the description below this video. No matter how you go about it though, allowing yourself to feel and process your emotions fully can help to release the hold that old trauma has on your current life situations. Number 4, find an outlet. One of the best ways to manage trauma is to find a creative outlet for your emotions. This could be creating anything from painting to making your own beer. It doesn't matter how creative you are, everyone has this resource within them. Just find something that speaks to you and helps you express what you're going through in a healthy way. According to recent studies, expressive art therapy can help individuals express emotions that they may not be able to articulate verbally. It provides a safe space to explore, process, and interact with difficult feelings and traumatic experiences. Music therapy is another option that provides nonverbal outlets for emotions associated with traumatic experiences. And creativity doesn't stop at the arts. Anything that gets you out of your head and into your body can be creative and super helpful in releasing trauma from your body, whether it's exercising, dancing, or simply playing. In fact, playing is just as important for adults as it is children, and it can even heal those emotional wounds. And here's the wild part. The traumatic memories won't necessarily be in your mind's memory. As I mentioned in the part 1 video, your body hangs on to the original coping mechanisms. One of the most renowned books on this topic is Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, The Body Keeps the Score, where he explains that trauma is held in your body and it's important to recognize the physical ways that trauma manifests. Being traumatized means continuing to organize your life as if the trauma were still going on, unchanged and immutable, as every new encounter or event is contaminated by the past. In a nutshell, finding a creative outlet can be incredibly cathartic and rewarding, and it can help cultivate a stronger sense of self. So don't underestimate its power. And finally, number 5, don't look for closure. The idea that you need to find closure is a bit of a myth. In reality, recovery doesn't necessarily mean you'll experience a happily ever after. Rather than focusing on closure as a destination, focus on your growth journey that'll carry you through all present and future stressful triggers. And instead of thinking about how you're supposed to feel, how you're supposed to be better, or how you're supposed to move on, try to reframe trauma as an ongoing opportunity for healing, learning, and growth. The main thing is to learn how to integrate healthier coping mechanisms when moments of stress are triggered, with the goal being to trigger your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest mode, more so than your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight mode, when dealing with a stressful situation, which will arise, as you know. To curb feelings and overwhelm and intense negative emotions, try to immediately ground yourself in the present moment. Take a deep breath and remind yourself that you're safe. You've come this far and that you're doing the best you can to move forward. Practicing daily mindfulness, exercise, and our other self-regulation and self-soothing tools are magical because they build up a positive cumulative effect over time. All in all, it's not about finding closure, just like happiness isn't a destination. It's about finding moments of well-being and joy. It's about integrating the right tools and support system and resources into your daily life. It is very possible to heal and find peace. And remember that you're not alone. To recap our 5 tips on coping with trauma, number 1, reach out for help. Number 2, build healthy habits and use the power of daily micro steps. Number 3, self-soothe and learn to self-regulate daily. Number 4, find a creative outlet to get out of your head and into your body. Number 5, don't look for closure. Instead, integrate into your lifestyle better coping mechanisms. If you've watched this video, it means that you or someone close to you is dealing with the aftermath of a traumatizing experience. And my heart goes out to you. So I want to thank you so much for being here and striving to be your best, during retirement and all life phases. We need more people like you to help shift our culture to be better. Please like, share, and subscribe, and comment on this video. Every engagement that you make with our videos helps us do a better job of creating helpful content for this important audience of older adults. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.